All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Coach Dan. Thank you so much for joining us on our very first episode of Versus the Podcast. Listen, on let me just tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing. We've got a whole bunch of segments for you all that's going to really highlight a lot of our high school and middle school basketball athletes in this area. We have segments like, we got next, she ball, this or that. We even got a segment for upcoming people that nobody knows about called You Better Google Me. Yes, sir. And every episode, Coach Mike and I, we're going to show you what's on our feet in our episode, What's on Your Feet. All right. And so listen, the format is going to be really easy, man, easy to listen to. We're just going to kick some conversation. We've got some great guests lined up for some of our episodes. We got some really awesome information that we're going to put out to you. But let me, with no further ado, introduce to you my awesome co-host. He's a former NBA athlete, a longtime high school coach in the area. He's done a lot of other things. We're going to get him to tell you about that. But right now, I'm going to bring on my man, my mellow, my number one fellow, Coach Mike Morrison.
What's up, Coach? Peace,
How you
King. How we doing?
doing?
Peace,
Peace,
King.
King.
Peace, King. How
How's
you
everything
doing?
with you, man?
Man, listen, I'm excited, as you can tell. I'm so excited about this idea that we shared years ago, right when the pandemic hit, is now coming to fruition, man. This is awesome.
Ain't
Uh,
it crazy, man?
it
Do me a
is.
favor, coach. Check this out. You mentioned kind of, us kicking around. Tell them how the podcast came about.
Oh man. Well, some of you guys who follow us on social media saw that during the pandemic, Coach Stan and I, well with rest in peace, our good friend and Coach Q, and some other guys, Jose Alvarez, former Major League Baseball player. We would get up in the morning, Harvey Ahart, one of the local refs, would get up in the morning and join Jebecca's boot camp. And we'd walk the Millennial Complex, get in about 5 to 7 miles in the morning, just walking. Then it turned into riding bikes. But while we were walking, we were just
Excuse me, y'all quit on me riding bikes, bro. We used to ride
man,
bikes.
listen,
Listen, y'all, I'm gonna tell you something. We would be out there at 5 o'clock in the morning riding bikes. Man, we had Harvey and Coach Mike out there. They zooming with all that young boy exuberance. They quit on me, y'all.
hey, listen. You took bike riding to a whole nother level, man. You started
Oh,
riding.
I
You
love it.
you were the man with the wisdom that was like, look, young bulls, don't run down the hill, walk down the hill. Cause you rode that bike and you started riding. You went from 15 miles to 20 miles, from 20 miles to 30. And I was like, hey,
Yeah,
I can't
and
ride
see,
that far.
the way my testosterone is set up, I
It's
can't
for the
mess with y'all,
distance.
man.
Yeah,
Y'all
it's
go
for the
on with that,
distance.
man. But go ahead and tell them how we came about it, man.
Well, we were walking one morning and we said, one thing that this area so lacks and needs is exposure for our programs. And not
Mhm.
just talking about any one in particular, but you know, you see other major cities, other cities that are booming athletically. Our
Yeah,
football programs get a lot of exposure,
yeah,
uh, but our basketball programs, particularly the girls' programs, don't get a
mm,
lot of light. And no one has really, scratched the surface just for Greenville County.
right.
And so you and I were talking about it, and we both come from, radio backgrounds, TV backgrounds. Me having my degree from Loyola University in mass communications and having done some things overseas and with um, the opening drive and Will Merritt and the different
Yeah.
things that you've done, we were like, man, it would be great if we could start something that allows us to share our loves, although they're sometimes different.
Oh,
As
they
you
are
sport
different.
your Adidas shirt, I'm repping the Nike Pro City from 2012 up in the DMV.
Yeah.
We had to, but it's healthy competitiveness. It's
Yes.
not, that South Carolina Clemson competitiveness that can
Yes. Yeah.
sometimes be
Yeah.
seen where
Yeah.
you actually it's, you can get with this, and I think it's going to be one of our segments, or you can
Yep.
get with that.
Oh, you can get with that.
You can have
Yeah.
whatever you like, whatever
Yeah.
one you choose. But we're going to present different options and
Yep.
give our point of views from sometimes opposite sides of the street, but nonetheless remaining friends at the end.
And I think that we also have adopted the mantra that I don't have to hate your team to like my team.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean?
That's
Um,
right.
I can appreciate the fact that you like Nike and I like Adidas.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
uh, as we'll get into a little bit, you're a lifelong Laker fan and
Yeah.
I'm a Knick fan.
That's right. Y'all took that L this past
Yeah, we
weekend,
took the
didn't
L in overtime, man, and
you?
excuse me,
He's all choked
I've
up.
got a little that's a little bit of desperation, aspiration for my Knicks, you know, no COVID, but
Right, right.
I watched the game last night. Matter of fact, when I turned it on, the Lakers had actually started to make their run in the third quarter.
Right.
We were up by 21 points at one
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and then LB and them started to make their run. And I think our issues with the Knicks started with when Derrick Rose got injured.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. That's
Derrick Rose, even though he's not MVP Derrick Rose, he is
mhm.
very valuable to what the Knicks do with his leadership, not only his familiarity with Thibodeau, but
Right.
also his mentorship to those young players. I
Yeah.
think that Julius Randle needs Derrick Rose around to really just mentor him. If you really
Agreed.
look at our team, we were going pretty good, and then Derrick Rose got hurt, and then just a lot of things started falling. So that speaks volumes of how much he means to our team. You
Agreed.
know,
Agreed.
and so what do you think? What do you think about your Lakers, man? What's going on with them?
Well, I want to give kudos to your guy R.J. Barrett. Of course,
Mm.
the Duke Blue Devils went in the camera. I mean, went into Roy Williams or the Dean Dome and spanked them Carolina uh, sore heels.
So you're a Duke fan too,
Of
huh?
course, of
Well,
course. You want me to show you the autograph ball up there?
oh, you
Look
got
at
the
that.
autograph. Ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen, he's got an
from
autographed
Krzyzewski
Duke
himself.
ball up on his mantle. Now, my
Yeah,
oldest son, Steven, that we both know, he's a Duke fan. But in college basketball, I follow the Georgetown Hoyas.
no question.
And yeah, I
We're
love
going to
Pat
agree on
Ewing.
that one.
Patrick Ewing is listen, guys and ladies. Patrick Ewing is my all-time favorite player of all time. I
Yeah,
mean, I followed him when he was at Georgetown, and of course, when he came to the Knicks, I really got a chance to watch him up close and personal. But he's my favorite player. I even got a chance to watch him a little bit today. My wife and I went out to brunch, and they were playing Providence. And at the time that we were watching, it was a really close game. I don't know what happened on the outcome of the game,
mm,
but Patrick Ewing is a throwback to they don't make centers like him anymore. You
right.
know, as you notice, Coach, the game has changed.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to play with their back to the basket. They all want to see how far they can shoot threes, and that's something that I'm sure that on one of these upcoming episodes, as we talk to some of
yeah,
our guests that either currently play professional ball or have played professional ball, whether it be overseas or whatever, we're going to find out kind of what happened in that back to the basket center.
right, right. How the game
Yeah,
is evolved. But to give your Knicks some credit last night, you had two players with 30 points. Julius Randle, who you mentioned earlier, and then
yeah,
R.J. Barrett. And it was a nip and tuck game. I mean, they logged some heavy minutes. R.J. Barrett, young as he is, played 50 minutes last night. That's a lot of minutes. And
yeah,
the thing that got the Lakers over the hump is they had three guys over 20. So, you
yeah.
know, Malik Monk has really come on for our Lakers and been a huge plus for us. Who
Malik
didn't,
Monk, hey, he playing for that money, man. He
man?
trying to get
Listen,
that. Hey,
listen,
listen, he had 18 points. He outscored the
right,
whole Nick team in the
right.
third quarter
Yes, he did.
by
Yes, he
himself.
did. Man, listen, it's bag season. Malik's trying to grab
Listen,
that bag
he's
before
trying to
it's
get
all
that
over.
money, man.
He's
Hey,
he's
and
got to get
listen,
it.
if you don't get it from the Lakers, he gonna get it because he listen. That young man did work.
He
Now,
did.
now, what are the injuries with? What's wrong with Carmelo?
Carmelo, I think again, it's just those years and age.
Yeah, Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
think it's anything. I think it's just knee soreness, and they're
Okay.
just saying, "But we've got Trevor Ariza now, and Trevor
Yeah.
Ariza's even though he's an aged player,
Yeah.
he's always been one of those guys." Kobe was talking about him. Uh, I listened to something that Kobe said earlier when Ron Artest came in.
Yeah.
He told Ron Artest, "Look at me, listen, man. If you can't give me the dedication that Trevor Ariza
Yeah.
gave
Yeah.
us, I don't
Yeah.
want you here." And
Yeah.
he talked about how Trevor Ariza was always early, came in early, stayed
Yeah.
late, how he was a consummate professional,
Yeah.
how in the playoff series, in the final series, didn't miss a three.
Yeah.
And that was something that goes unheralded because he always plays with so many great stars. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens after next weekend's All Star break. I'm
Yeah.
really excited to see what happens.
Definitely want to RIP Kobe. I'll tell you how I can remember Trevor Ariza. There was a Little Wayne song called Kobe Bryant. And
Mm,
and one of the lyrics was, "I got Ariza on the wing."
wow,
Yeah, and
wow.
yeah, Trevor Ariza reminds me of what's the shooting guard that played for Atlanta for a long time. He also played in the Big Three. Oh gosh, he was
Eddie Jones.
no, he's just recently removed. He was on a podcast with Kevin Garnett. What's the guy's?
Oh, Jamal Crawford.
Yes, Jamal Crawford.
Yeah, Jay
Yes, and
Cross.
listen,
Yeah, Jay
hey,
Cross.
hey, he said he wake up every day ready. So
Yeah,
all you got to do is call him. And Trevor Ariza is like a
yeah.
throwback to that same kind of situation. Trevor
Agreed.
Ariza's got, and if you notice, a lot of the older athletes now are getting calls. Stevenson just signed with the Pacers
Hmm.
for the rest of the season and
Yep.
probably a little bit beyond. And
Joe
so
Johnson's in Boston.
listen, Joe Johnson get buckets, bruh.
That's
Joe Johnson get buckets, bruh.
yes, he
Without
does.
no doubt. So I think the NBA is it's really not what we're accustomed to, but
Yeah.
it is kind of it's still exciting. Let me ask you this right now, with it being right before All Star break, who do you like as far as finishing the season strong, or what do you think? Who do you think is going to be coming out of the West? Since you're a Laker fan, who do you think is
I
going to be
am.
coming out?
And to be honest with you, I think the team that's built for the distance is the Phoenix Suns, and
Mm,
that's not because they drafted me, and not because I have a lot of allegiance to them, but
yeah,
I think they're built for that distance. I also think Golden State is a team that you're going to have to contend with
yeah,
these last 42, 44 games because they've added some pieces to their roster that's taken that scoring load off of Clay and Steph, and
yeah,
Draymond is really just being a point forward,
yeah.
facilitating everything. And again, I think those two teams are going to be tough to deal with. Sleeper teams coming out of the West, the Lakers. I think the Lakers are going to make a
Mm.
push late, and
Coach,
that's not me
coach,
speaking with my heart.
coach,
That's just me knowing what the second half of
coach.
this season looks like for
They
LeBron James.
they too old, coach. Listen, I don't know if they're gonna be able to make that push or not.
Yeah,
Because unfortunately for them, the teams that they're gonna be fighting against, they got that. We were talking about testosterone earlier. They
yeah,
got that youth, and
yeah,
see,
yeah. They
I,
got it.
and what about them young boys like God dog John Morant, boy?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I
Listen,
mean? So
Mip,
it's
Mip,
gonna be tough.
but the problem with Jai is again, like Allen Iverson, can't do it by himself.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I, although one of my former teammates' son, um, Jared Jackson Jr. is on that
yeah,
team,
yeah,
he's what we started the show with, started this conversation. I know we'll get back to it later, but he's a 6'9", 6'10" big that shoots threes.
ah,
Um, again, with John Moran and the athleticism that he electrifies us with, they need somebody down there that's going to get those tap ins, going to get
yeah,
them some easy buckets around the basket. And I don't know Memphis's roster right off the top of my head, but they've
yeah.
got a couple pieces, but I just don't see them being able to battle through these playoffs.
We're going to speak about your Lakers one last time, and then we're going to move on here. Uh, Russell Westbrook.
Oh man, that's disappointment.
Wow.
But again, I think Russell Westbrook is what Russell Westbrook is.
Yes.
He's a team. He's a player that plays with a lot of energy,
Yeah.
but has never really been successful when playing on the team with a lot of other stars.
Yeah.
Uh, he needs the ball. He
Yeah.
needs to be able to do the things that he wants to do, and he'll average a triple double for a season, but it might
Yeah.
not help his team get to the playoffs. And that's unfortunate. But
Yeah.
I think what we're finding out, us Laker fans, is that, he's not a knockdown shooter. He can't make
Right.
open shots, even
Right.
when left alone.
Right.
He's not a consistent finisher.
Right.
And when asked to distribute or to play in a certain flow,
Yeah.
he's struggling with that right now. So I'm a huge fan of his because he
Yeah.
plays so hard. But
Yeah.
you got to also be effective when you're playing hard.
Barbershop talk. Every time I would, go in the barbershop, and this has been a long time ago, even when he was with OKC, I my observation about Russell Westbrook is that OKC would have, number one, that they would have stayed together, but they also would have won rings if Russell Westbrook would have realized that that team was KD's, not his.
Right. Agreed.
That was the big issue back then, in my
Agreed.
opinion,
Yeah,
because you
agreed.
had Draymond, you had KD, you
Hmm.
had and Westbrook was awesome, but he listen and see KD. In my opinion, he ain't that guy that's gonna jump up on your face and be like, "Yo, this is my team."
Right. No.
He ain't that
No.
kind of leader. He
Right.
gonna lead you with buckets and stuff on the floor,
Right.
but Westbrook, when you talk about like being alpha males, Westbrook is an alpha male in that way. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, when you have KD on that, in my opinion, any team that KD is on, even the Warriors, is
Hmm.
KD's team. And if you
Yeah.
notice, Steph was big enough to step back and go, "Bro, go ahead, man.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, bro.
And that's why they
I'm
got two
yeah."
rings out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and until Russell Westbrook is really able to step back, and you would think that playing with LB that he would defer, but he's having issues with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's having issues with that. I don't think you want anybody on your team. Nobody plays harder than him, so it's
Uh-uh.
not even an effort thing. It's just finding, how can I blend with a team and actually contribute in a positive way.
Yeah.
And right now, he's just having problems with that.
Yeah. That's a good
So
point.
let's do this, Coach. Uh, and we talked a little bit backstage about how hard this is going to be. Us acting like we don't know each other. Now we're gonna share with you all uh, kind of how we got into coaching, and
Right.
something. This is going to be fresh because we ain't never talked about this before.
No, we haven't.
So,
We
Coach,
haven't.
how did you get into coaching?
So I retired officially from playing professionally in 2000. And when I retired in 2000, I had been living in South Carolina for 3 years. I moved here in 97, but I went back and played 98, 99. Well, 99, 98 through 99, and then 99 through 2000 overseas. And when I finished, I came back to Lawrence. I was living down in Lawrence, and I was working at
Lawrence County,
that's right,
folks.
LA,
For
baby,
all y'all,
LA,
yeah, for all y'all
LA.
that are listening, he said Lawrence, but we know it's
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
That's right, man. If you know anything about Lawrence, you know about Green Street Grocery. That's my grandma's store.
Okay.
Everybody knew Miss Coleman. So, you know, my mom and dad were there, and my daughter at the time, Johanna, was there. And, I was working at Walmart distribution, really not even involved in basketball at all. I had played so much from 89 for 20 years almost, with some breaks in between. But from 90 to 2000, I was hooping. And
Mm.
so, my body wasn't feeling great, but it wasn't feeling that bad yet either. But I just got away from the game, and I got invited to watch a couple AAU games, and
Mm.
was actually, even though I was retired, I was still playing in some church leagues and some different things around town. And man, I just saw the state of basketball, because you got to realize for 9 years I was living overseas, so I really
Right.
wasn't involved in. There was a 9 year period. I guess that was between 1990 to 2000. I was overseas pretty much that whole time. 91 to
Wow.
2000, I was overseas. So I didn't know the state of basketball, and this AAU thing just took off while I was gone. So when I came back, um, I went back and forth to DC a few times, and my nephew was playing, and my niece was playing, and just kind of getting involved with some of the stuff that they were doing. And I was sitting at the table and I was complaining. I was like, "Mama, these people aren't learning fundamentals. They're not teaching them." And she was cooking like mamas do, and she was doing something else too. And she was like, "You sure are complaining a lot. If you're gonna complain, why don't you get involved and do something about it?"
Nah, preach.
And I was like, "Wow." So what ended up happening is I went and volunteered at Lawrence High School
Mm.
as a volunteer assistant coach.
Mm-hmm.
I just went
The
up and
Lawrence
introduced myself.
Raiders.
Yeah, that's right, the Lawrence Raiders. I went up and introduced myself to Joe. Joe Walker was the head coach, and a guy named George Ward was his assistant coach.
Mm-hmm.
And George and I were playing in some rec league games together up at the Lawrence Y and the different places like that. And so they gave me a chance to volunteer, and I was working at Walmart distribution, but I had just began a job with Sports World, so I was traveling a lot and speaking. And Joe was like, it's a volunteer position, just come when you can. And I really, really enjoyed being around them. There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Ladies
it.
and
That's
gentlemen,
it.
if you're listening to the podcast, you can't see, but I got a Coach Mike Phoenix Sun autographed Sports World sports card right here on the screen.
Yeah, that's
Phoenix
it.
Suns,
That's
NBA,
it.
Mike
That's
Morrison, and it's right here. I keep it on my mantle. I'm just
it.
waiting for it to be worth mega bucks.
Yeah, I think its value is where it's going to be for right now. But nonetheless, man, I appreciate you holding on to that.
Oh, come on, man.
But that's how I did it, man. And then I knew the guy. I knew a couple of guys that lived in this area, but I didn't realize they lived in this area. I played against them overseas. That's Shaman Williams and Merle Code.
Mm.
And while working at actually, I take that back. I wasn't working at Walmart yet. I was working at DHL downtown, right here in Malden.
Okay.
And Pat King, who played at the College of Charleston, was playing in some men's league, and he was like, "Hey, man, we need a fifth. You feel like playing?" So I was playing in Lawrence, volunteering there, but I started playing at the Cleveland Street Y.
Mm.
So one day I'm in there playing at the Y, and this guy was like, "Man, this dude don't play like no regular basketball player. He had to play somewhere before." And I was like, "No, man, I just like playing basketball." He was like, "Man, come on, man.
You didn't wear your NBA socks in there, man?
No, I never, no NBA gear, no, none of that. I was just hooping, man, and just enjoying hooping. Again, I'm from DC. You don't go into somebody's hood acting like you that guy.
Yeah.
That can get you in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to fit in. I didn't want to make no noise. And so Reggie Epps and Shaman came in one day. I guess Shaman had just gotten home too, like I had. And Shaman was like, "Oh man, that dude just played in Germany, yada yada." I was like, "That's Mike Morrison." He's like, "We know who he is." And so Kevin Garnett's first tournament was coming up that summer.
If you guys don't notice, we're dropping a lot of South Carolina names. We dropped Ja Morant. We dropped Shaman Williams. We dropped Merle Code. We dropped hey, listen,
Reggie
we
Epps.
dropping them all, man.
Mm-hmm.
We dropping them all. We dropped KG Big Ticket.
That's right.
I know y'all think he's from Chicago. He right here from Malden, South Carolina.
That's right. And this is when
you better check him out.
This is when he had the tournament at Malden. So this is before they had moved it. So I played in that with them and me, him, Merle. I mean, we had a great squad. We won it easily going away. And they were like, "Man, that's not fair. They got 4 NBA players playing on that team." So it was a lot of fun. And that got me immersed into the South Carolina culture, like Greenville culture. Yeah. And then I met Hagan and Mike Rouse, which had just started. They had just opened Potential Sports Academy. And it was perfect. My last year overseas in Germany, part of my job was to help train the younger kids. Mm-hmm. So I learned a lot about skill development and stuff like that from our coaches over there. And it was just good timing. So we went in, and of course, you remember our first team was the Upstate Basketball Coalition.
Yeah.
Then we turned into the South Carolina Fire and Flames.
Yep.
And grew the program from there. So that's how I got into coaching.
Good deal. I didn't.
And my first high school job in Greenville is how you and I met.
That's exactly right. Coach Mike used to coach my youngest son over at Greenville High. At the
Yeah.
time, he was assisting varsity coach, but also coaching the C team over there.
Yep.
And we met through that. My story, my coaching story is a little bit boring compared to. I don't got no NBA superstars in my story.
It's still just as
let
important and
me
just as
let me
impressive.
tell you, and even I'm going to go back a little bit to high school. In high school, I wasn't a very good basketball player. Matter of fact, I grew up with some really great players. I could play defense and I could jump, but I was not anybody that you would even look at being a basketball player. So after I graduated high school, joined the military, I played a little bit on our post team, and you know kind of how that is. You have guys that have played maybe in high school or whatever. They joined the post team, and so I played on some. I played on our post team in Maryland, and I also played in our post team over in Germany. And then after I got out of the military, I joined. I was a police officer, but how I got into coaching was uh, in between being a police officer. I moved to New York, and in New York, I played in some hoop it up tournaments, those outdoor 3-on-3 hoop it
Oh
up
man.
tournaments.
Yes,
Yeah, so
indeed.
I played in a lot of those representing my the company that I worked for, a European American Bank back then, which is right across the street from the Nassau Coliseum.
Oh
But
wow.
so I played, and then we actually ended up moving back to South Carolina, and then ended up in Anderson. So at the time, my oldest son Stephen, who is 30, well, shoot, Steven's almost 40 now, but he was a teenager. He was probably about 12 or 13. And we signed him up for the local team at the rec center in Anderson. And at the time, I was working with the police department down in Anderson. So I waited for like 2 weeks after sign up, and they had never called us about a team. So I went up there and I was like, "Hey, I signed my son up for a basketball team, and nobody's called." And they said, "Well, you know what? We have kids, coach, but I mean, sir, but we don't have anybody to coach them." Now, I had never coached a team ever in life. I hadn't even coached Tiddlywinks. I hadn't even coached God dog red light, green light, 1, 2, 3. But I knew I wanted him to play. So I told him, I said, "Hey, listen, I'll coach." And they let me pick the name of our team. We were the Anderson Knicks, of course.
Wow. Wow.
Coach Mike,
Couldn't leave him alone.
we lost every
Undefeated.
game. Oh no, no, no. We won one game,
Oh
and
man.
that was the other team didn't show up and they forfeited.
Wow. Wow. But I
Listen,
bet your kids had fun though.
well, no, listen, check this out. I didn't know no inbound plays. I didn't know no outbound plays. I didn't know, because all of my experience at that point, up until that point, had been, playing a little, 3-on-3 or whatever, or
Right.
even just watching it on television. But
Right.
one thing that I did know from that season is that I like being out there with the kids.
Right.
So I told my wife, I said, I think I want to do this. So what I did is, see, kids, y'all don't know this was before the internet. So
Right.
I had to go to the library and I
Okay.
actually checked out some books on coaching and how to coach youth sports.
Okay.
So that whole off season, I read those books. That's basketball differently.
Hmm.
Instead of watching it from a spectator, I started watching it saying, well, how did they get in that position? Or how did he do that? Or I started looking at inbound plays. So I tell you who was the coach. Rick Pitino was the actual coach of the Knicks back then.
Oh
And
wow.
so I started watching and I liked the style that we were playing.
Right.
So I studied, and then that very next year we made it to the Rec Center Championship and won.
Wow. Went
And
from 0 to 100.
listen, I'm going to tell you this, and not to say anything about, I'm not a Red Auerbach, but since that first season, I have not had a season at the end of the season where it's a losing season ever. And that's been,
That's awesome.
yeah, that's been over 25, 26 something years ago.
That's awesome.
So that's how and so from there, coaching at the rec center, I created Well, I started coaching for the Boys and Girls Club down in Anderson, and we were the
Okay.
Boys and Girls Club Warriors. And
Okay.
we were, Coach.
How'd you come up with the name Warriors?
Well, at the time, I was
Because that's
trying to.
followed you
Well, check
to
this
the
out.
upstate.
Well, check this out. I was looking for some uniforms, some like some replica uniforms.
Okay.
So I found this site. Now by this time they did have the internet, and so I looked on site, and this company created replica uniforms of NBA teams. So the one that
Wow.
really grabbed my eye was the old Golden State
State
Warriors
Warrior. Okay.
with the Thunderbolt and
Yeah.
the guy. So
Yeah.
I ordered some replica uniforms for our team,
Wow.
and we were the only rec ball team with team shoes, Coach. Team shoes, Coach. So that started way back then, and we ended up winning championships. So I saw that the kids wanted to play, and I got a group of kids from Anderson, and I took them on their very first out of town trip
Wow.
to an AAU tournament to
Wow.
Columbia. Now, for
South
those of you that
Carolina.
are not familiar with Anderson and Columbia, it's it's uh, maybe about how drive 2 hour drive maybe.
Probably.
But yeah,
Probably.
hour and a half, 2 hour drive. But the
Yeah.
thing that was important about this trip is that some of these kids had not been outside of Anderson. So we
That's
entered
awesome.
an AAU tournament and went down there, and we stayed in the hotel. And back then, you know how I used to do. You stay about
12 in the room.
eight to a room.
All
So
we need is a
so
pillow and some
yeah.
floor.
So we went down there, ate to a room, and I didn't lose any kids to needing bail money or anything
Right.
like that. But
Leave nobody's kid in Columbia.
listen, I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I heard, matter of fact, I ran into one of those kids at the barbershop this past weekend. He was on my very first team that I coached, and now he has two kids of his own.
Wow.
And one his son is 11 years old and is a swimmer. But we
Wow.
reflected on that. So and then I got into AAU coaching through them, and moved up here to South Carolina, and I mean to Greenville rather, and I was actually working with one of my good friends, Lee Sauter, who is the head coach of Erskine
Hmm.
College. He was also Zion Williams. Uh, he was a high school coach. Lee
He'll be a good
Sauter
guest
and
too.
I were. Yeah, listen, we're gonna get Coach Lee on and definitely talk with him. He
Good.
and I were working at MCI,
Oh
the
wow.
neighborhood. See, y'all young folks don't know nothing about MCI.
Right.
Hey, long distance coverages, all that. Y'all don't know nothing about that.
That's
You know.
right.
So he got on the elevator, and he and I were talking, and he said, I was like, yeah, I got, we got on the subject of kids, and I said, yeah, I got my youngest son, he's 12, and Lee was like, well, does he play basketball? I'm like, yeah, he plays basketball, and so Lee was like, I have an AAU organization in Spartanburg.
Yep.
I'd like for you to come up and you guys can play and coach. So I
You started
drove.
coaching with Lee?
Listen, I
I didn't know
drove from
that.
Anderson, South Carolina to Spartanburg
Spartanburg.
twice a week for AAU
Wow.
practices, passing up all
Wow.
these AAU teams
Right.
around here.
Right.
And I coached with the Spartanburg Bucks with Lee
Yeah.
Sauter. One of our athletes, uh, Sharon Peak, ended
Hmm.
up playing football at
That's
Clemson
right.
University, but
That's
also
right.
played in the NFL with the
That's
New
right.
York Jets.
That's right.
And so that's how I got into AAU coaching. And then after I got finished coaching with Lee, I was the athletic director at Redemption, which is
Okay.
the Imagine Center.
Right.
Relentless now has that center, but I was the athletic director and actually helped design that building.
That's right.
So at the time, I think you can remember we had one of and not that I'm really hung up on size, but we had one of the largest organizations in this area as far as AAU teams.
Right.
So we did that, and then after I transitioned from Redemption, we created SC Phenoms,
Hmm.
and so we've been doing SC Phenoms now for almost 14 years now, and just trying to that's how I really got into coaching to coach my son, but then
Right.
after it kind of bit me, One of the things that I can tell you is that I coach now for other people's children.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Making
so
a
that's kind of
difference, coach. Making a big
yeah.
difference.
So that's how I got into coaching, and we are going to talk a lot more about other stuff later on. Um, but what we're going to do at this point, before we get up, go forward with our interviews, because like today, we're going to interview Coach Rico SallieWhite, uh,
Yeah, that's gonna be
yes,
exciting. It's gonna be a good
Akian,
interview.
Akian Durant, and
Hmm.
Jalen SallieWhite. They're from McCormick High School. They are the
Okay.
seventh ranked team in the state, and really good conversation with those guys. But also, we're gonna interview. We got to interview with one of the guys we both know and love.
Yeah. Yeah.
This guy, listen, this guy is just incredible, and he's doing an amazing job down at
Yeah.
Powdersville Middle. It's Coach David Clayton from the
Oh man,
Powdersville Middle School team. Coach
that's
David
gonna be
is just
awesome.
incredible. We interviewed two of his athletes,
That's
Xavier
awesome.
Huggins and
That's
also
awesome.
Corben Butler.
That's
And
awesome.
Coach, I went to see them play this weekend. Yesterday, actually, it's going to be Saturday, so for you guys that see this later. And I went to see them play, and I want you guys to watch the interview with especially with Xavier. They call him Huggy.
Okay.
Listen, Coach, this dude is probably about 4 foot nothing, you
Okay.
know. But when I tell you, he balled out.
Did he?
And he started doing a little glizzy on the court. But listen, I
Having a
was
good
just
time.
amazing. I'll talk a little bit more about that.
Okay.
Listen, and Corbin and all those guys down at Powdersville Middle School,
Right.
just really great. Coach David Clayton is doing an awesome job there.
Good.
Um, Coach, you know this, especially when we start talking about middle school kids and that age group. It's hard to teach them sets or
Yeah.
concepts.
Yeah.
Listen, I was at that game this weekend, Coach. They were running dribble drive, pull
Okay.
out, let the defense come to you, dish. And I'm like, I was just amazed, man. As a
Wow.
coach, not only did it invigorate me, but it just gave me goosebumps to see kids. I'll tell you what I came from it. Coach David will tell you he didn't have the best athletes.
Okay.
Didn't have the best athletes.
Yeah.
He had the best team.
That's
He
awesome.
coached them up, and those guys executed the plan. So we're going to come up. We're going to interview them. And right now, as you guys can see, if you're looking here, I got some little technical difficulties.
Coach, we lost your mic. We lost your mic, coach. Coach Stan's gonna get himself plugged back in. There you go. Can you hear me now? But we still can't hear you. Your microphone is out.
Yeah,
There we go. We got you.
I think we're back now. And
We
you know
got
what,
you.
man? That's the beauty of a broadcast here is that we got little things going on, but we got it. We got it under control. Listen, if you are looking at this right now, you'll see the scroll says, "Hey, like, subscribe, and even share the information." All of our information is down there on the scroll. We're on Facebook and Instagram at versus_the_podcast. If you want to contribute and you want to reach out to us, Cash App is down there. But like, follow, and subscribe. Right now, we're going to really shout out to a couple of our sponsors. One of our segments is the student athlete section. It's been sponsored by our awesome friends at studentathleteshop.com. That's www.studentathleteshop.com. It's
Get your
actually,
merch. That's some
yeah,
great merch.
they
That's some
got some
great
awesome
merch.
merch there. It's
Yeah.
actually run by Christian C. Raw Henderson, who's an awesome DB at Christ Church. No, I'm sorry. He's at Southside Christian. Let me get it right. He's at Southside Christian. They just won the state championship. Christian is a uh, eighth grader, ninth grader, and he played varsity and he is just one of the top DBs in the area. But he has
Wow.
the apparel line, www.studentathleteshop.com. Get your merch there, you student athletes. Even they even have stuff for parents of student athletes. So we're really happy to have him on as a sponsor. And one of our sponsors for our upcoming segment called You Better Google Me is none other than Stephen Carpenter from ccpapparel.com. And if you know, that's my son. But he's done a really great job. He has an apparel line over there that will remind you to step outside your comfort zone. Whether you're an athlete that's hit the wall or you're just a regular everyday person that is just afraid to take that leap, when you look at this merch and those slogans over there, it's going to remind you that you can't progress without a little bit of discomfort. That's ccpapparel.com. Go on over there and get your merch. Now, coming up, Coach, we got an awesome interview with
Looking
Coach Rico
forward to it.
SallieWhite
All
from
right.
McCormick High School. Also, two of his players. We have a Chean Durant, I call him AD, and the coach's son, Jalen SallieWhite, coming up on Versus the Podcast. All right. On today's episode of We Got Next Versus the Podcast presents Coach Rico SallieWhite. He is the head coach of the McCormick High School boys team down in McCormick, and we're going to bring him on and speak with him here in just a moment. Again, that's Coach Rico SallieWhite. All right. Welcome, Coach SallieWhite. Thank you so much for joining us on our program today. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, sir?
I am doing awesome. You are our very, 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 very first interview, and we appreciate you agreeing to do this. We're excited about learning about what you guys got going on down in McCormick. Now, first off, I did a little bit of research. You from Great Court?
Yes, sir.
Owens.
Yeah, I'm from the big city of Great Court. Yes, sir.
Well, good. I grew up in a town you might be familiar with, Fountain Inn.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. We neighbors.
Yeah. Well, good. Says here that you went to Spartanburg Methodist College.
Yes, sir.
Also went to Lander.
Yes, sir.
And you got a degree from Arkansas State University.
Yes, sir.
Good deal. And it seems like you also come from a family of 6.
That is correct.
You're the big bro.
Yes, sir.
Almost similar to my situation. I'm the oldest of 5, so I know how that feels. So tell me a little bit about what got you into your coaching journey.
I guess coaches made such an impact in my life in high school. I knew I had to do something that I enjoyed doing. So I decided at about 15, 16 years old that I wanted to be a head basketball coach. And I used to just hang around my coaches at the time, and they allowed me to talk basketball. And sometimes they would let me coach the JV team when we would go to team camps and just things like that. And I've always loved the competition and, the game of, who's going to make the next move and who's going to make the best move. So that's all I've ever wanted to be, was a coach.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. So now tell me about your team. I see right now you guys are currently ranked 7th in the state. You're 2nd in your region. You guys are battling up there at the top. Tell me, what kind of team do you have?
We're young. We're pretty much sophomore and junior heavy. I got two really good seniors. They played well for me this year. Just a tough bunch. One of the tougher bunches that I've had. We've been battling injuries for about the last 2 weeks, so we just trying to get through this this stretch and get healthy. We played 4 games last week. We got 3 this week, and then the following week we got 3 more. So
Wow.
we enjoy pushing the ball. We like to push it.
Okay.
We play man. We press a lot. We get after. We're not extremely big, but like I said, I got some hard nosed kids, bunch of football players. I think 11, 12 of my guys play football. So
That
they got a
wouldn't be because you're also assistant football coach with it.
no. I'm actually not anymore. I'm the AD
Okay.
now, so
Okay.
I don't coach football anymore. But we're real big on pushing our kids to do dual sports.
That's great.
So my basketball guys know they either play football or they run cross country, and most of them they aren't gonna run cross country.
That's a lot of endurance running there. That is extremely.
Absolutely.
So now you're the AD. Are you still assistant principal as well, or?
I am. Yes, I got a full
Wow.
load. Got a
Wow, you
full
got
load.
yes. Now let
Yeah.
me ask you this, and this ain't one of my this or that questions. Out of the three, and I'm gonna even throw football in there. Which one do you enjoy the most?
Probably. I don't know if I could pick, but it's probably the AD or the basketball coach.
Okay,
Um,
good.
I really enjoy those two a lot. Just being over the athletic department and being given that platform to really hold kids accountable. We're really big on pushing academics. Our
Yeah,
kids go to study hall. We actually have weekly eligibility with our athletes, which have changed the culture of our athletic department because we got good children. Like our athletic department is winning with good children that do their schoolwork. So that's something to be proud of. So I really like that platform. And
that's
like I said,
awesome.
yeah,
That's important. I've been coaching high school basketball up here in South Carolina for 10 years, and when I got to the last place that I coached, when I first got there, I'm a really big academic guy. My daughter graduated from the University of Cincinnati on a track scholarship, and she's one of the top 10 jumpers in school history. But my youngest son he was a dual sport athlete. He played basketball and he ran track, ended up getting a track scholarship at Clemson. And I saw from your bio that you're a Gamecock fan. I won't hold that against you. But what always stressed with them, and even my oldest son who played high school sports, is I don't really care how good you are. If you don't have those academics, you're not going to play. So when I
right.
got to the school that I started out at, one of the things that I told the coach and the AD, well, the coach, I said, hey, I know I work for you, but I'm not. I was a JV coach. I said I'm not going to coach a kid that has D's and F's. I'm just not going to do it. And slowly but surely, we began to change the culture where those kids knew that if they didn't have the grades, I didn't care. So I'm glad to hear you say that, because they don't understand that, uh, although they all want to make the league, we know that the reality is they're
Yeah.
probably going to end up doing something else. And
Yes,
we want
sir.
to make sure that if they don't make the league or whatever, that they have something, that not a fallback plan, but they have a sense of direction on somewhere they can go.
Yes, sir.
Now, let me ask you this. You coach your son. Now, from a coach who has coached his sons and daughters, I already know the answer to it, but how was that?
um, I think it's gotten a lot better. The first couple years when he was a sophomore and junior, I probably was a little too hard on him at times,
Mm,
and just singling him out probably a little bit too much. But this year, he and I, we just basically said he's gonna go out and play hard, and I'm gonna leave him alone. And I said
mhm,
I'm gonna coach the team, and we just kind of got that mutual agreement. Um, After the game Saturday night, we had a tough loss against Southside, and he sent me a text. He didn't play well, and I was like, dude, I'm daddy now. I
that's
was like,
right.
I'm not coach right now, so we'll talk about that, at the next practice. So I think I've had to do a better job of separating the two, because at one point in time it would come home,
Mhm,
and that's not healthy for a kid. That's not
yeah,
healthy for me. So
yeah.
I'm still hard on him, but we, like I say, we separate the two now.
Well, good. My experience is about the same. What I learned to do was my son's all through his high school career, I watched him coach. I mean, I watched him play. But here's what I did: I videoed every game, and after the game, we would come home and we would review that game. And after I pressed stop, that was the end of the conversation about that game. Good, bad, or indifferent. After I pressed stop, that was it. Because one of the things that I realized about coaching my kids, and you know this too, you're only going to be his basketball coach for a little while, but you're going to
Hmm.
be his dad forever.
That's correct. Yes,
And we
sir.
don't want anything to happen in sports that's going to jeopardize our relationship with our kids. So I understand that it's walking a tightrope, but it seems like you really have it figured out there.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. So now listen, you have two players that we're going to highlight here, and it's a Chean
A Ken.
a Chean
A
Durant.
Ken. Ken. A
Akian.
Ken.
And you know what? He told me that backstage, and I still messed it up. Akian Durant, and then we have your son, uh, Mr. Jalen SallieWhite. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the transition, and then we'll bring you guys back here in just 1 second. All right. We're going to bring you on, and all right. And as I said earlier, this is our really our first go around with this, and it's let's see here, trying to get it. All right, now we're going to bring on Akian Durant and Jalen SallieWhite. How you guys doing?
I'm
Good.
doing well.
All right. We're going to start with you, Mr. SallieWhite. I talked to your dad, coach, a little bit, and we're going to start with you. Now, tell me, what year are you?
Class of 2022.
Class of 2022. So that means that this is it.
Yes, sir.
How long have you played for your dad?
Um, Played for my dad practically all my life. Um, we started off with baseball first when I was very young. He taught me the game of baseball. He said baseball takes a lot more thinking, a lot more mental focus than basketball. He wanted me to learn that game first. And then we started off with basketball. And throughout the middle school years, I didn't play for him, but he was always at games. And back to my sophomore year, that's when I started playing for him again.
Okay, good deal. And what kind of player would you think that you are?
I definitely can say, and a lot of my teammates know, I'm not gonna go out and score 20 points a game every night or be the best player on the court every night, but I can contribute to the team. I can play hard. I can do what I'm good at, and I know what I'm good at, and my teammates know what I'm good at. So therefore, I feel like that makes us a better team, and it makes me a better player. Just knowing my role, knowing what I do best, knowing that I'm not gonna be the star player, but I can help my other teammates that are better than me. I can help them contribute to the team, and it can ultimately help us win in the end.
Good deal. Coach SallieWhite, what would you say young Jalen's strengths are as an athlete?
Just basketball IQ, being able to make the big shot in big situations, shooting the three ball, and actually he does a really good job of guarding bigger guards, picking the ball up and just pressuring it, just being smart, not fouling against bigger guards. So he brings some things to the table, that some intangibles that other guys don't like to do. He'll take charges and just get after it, stick his nose in there, just box out, just hard nosed kid.
Good stuff. Now, Mr. Young Jalen SallieWhite, what would you say you could be better at? That you could do better?
I definitely say that handling the ball a lot better, and just off ball defense too. Off ball defense, being in the right spots on off ball defense, and moving without the ball on offense. Moving
Very
without the ball on
important.
offense is real big.
Very important. Now, let me ask you this: by you being a senior, what are you looking to do next?
After this, I recently just got accepted into University of South Carolina. I'm currently at Lander doing dual enrollment in the dual enrollment program. So after high school, I plan on attending South Carolina and majoring in physical education with maybe a minor in sports management. And I plan on getting my master's by 25 and working somewhere in the upstate, just like anything with sports, really, being in the
Do you,
sports field.
now you said physical education. Are you trying to coach, teach, or you know?
Definitely trying to coach and teach, do both of them.
Good stuff. Akian Durant.
Yes, sir.
Okay, did I get it right that time, Mr. Durant?
Yes, yes, sir.
So can I call you AD?
You can.
Tell me, Mr. Durant, what year are you?
I'm class of 23.
Class of 23. So
Yes, sir.
then after Jalen leaves, it's gonna be on you.
Yes, sir.
What position do you play, sir?
Play point guard.
Point guard?
Yes, sir.
All right. Tell me what kind of player you think you are.
I really don't know what type of player I am, honestly.
Whoa, Mr. Durant. You say you're a point guard and you don't know what kind of player you are?
I have different attributes. I like to get to the rim a lot. I'm not a great.
Okay.
I don't shoot the three ball very well, but I can shoot it at times when I get hot.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna jump over to your coach real quick. Coach SallieWhite, what are young Mr. Durant's strengths on the court?
Mr. Durant is the dog. We we call the guy that's in the top of our press the dog because, and we always say we want dogs that bark. I mean, dogs that bite, not bark.
Mm,
He's also an all-state football player with a Duke offer. So
okay.
he's a hard-nosed kid. And like he said, he does a good job of getting to the rim. He shoots the three ball well in spots. But
Mhm.
he makes it go for us. Like I say, he's the head of the snake.
Good deal. So you have a Duke offer in football. What position do you play in football?
Running back and defensive back.
So that running back probably lends to you being able to get to the rim.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Very good stuff. Now, let me ask you this. When you go to college, and I'm going to jump back to you too, Mr. SallieWhite. Well, you already told me. I'm sorry. When you go to college, what do you want to study?
Entrepreneurship.
Okay. What do you
Yes.
want to do with that?
Be able to own my own business. Like clothing lines.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you like clothes? Do you design or style?
Design.
Design. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Who is your? I'm going to throw it back to young Mr. SallieWhite. Who is your favorite NBA player right now?
My favorite NBA player, LeBron, man.
LB. Okay. Mr. Durant. Who's your favorite NBA player?
Durant.
Ja. Okay. Okay. Good deal. Now, young Jalen, who would you say you play most like in the NBA? Who do you play like?
Uh, that's a good question. Can I give you a college basketball player instead?
You can. Well, you can.
The point guard from Kentucky. I forgot his name. He's not very big. I think his name's Savar. I think
Okay.
he's not.
Talking about
He's
the
not.
little
He's not
guard.
very big.
The little guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Mr. Durant,
Yes,
I've
sir.
listened to your coach. I've listened to you, and I'm going to tell you right now. Oh, I bet you off rip, you play like Westbrook.
Yeah.
Because Westbrook can get to the rim, and he gonna shoot you in or out of a game. Yeah, that's awesome. Now I'm gonna step off of basketball a little bit. What kind of music you guys like?
I listen to all type of music.
Okay, let me ask you this. What's the last rap song you listened to?
I don't even remember.
Okay, what's the last song you listened to?
I listen to one of my friends that rap.
Okay, he's local. He got
Who is
bars.
that?
Sino Reek.
Okay, put him out there. Go ahead and put him out there, man.
Yes, sir. I listen to Sino Reek.
Okay. All right. What about you, Mr.
He's pretty
SallieWhite?
good.
He's good,
Um,
coach?
Yeah, he's not bad.
Okay, all right, good. I've got a couple of former athletes, 864 Gordo and DJ Brooks, that both they actually rap, and they got projects out. So that's not a bad transition. Who you like, Mr. SallieWhite?
I actually like all kinds of music, really, all types of music. I'm actually in a music class at Atlanta right now, talking
Really?
about
What do you
music.
play?
I like listening to NBA YoungBoy. I just
Okay,
listen to his song called Heart and Soul. It's a real good song.
okay. I'm familiar with NBA YoungBoy. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
NLE Chopper. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah, yeah.
They
Young
come from the
Thug,
same
Lil
branch. They come
Durk.
from the same
Yeah,
branch of
yeah.
music.
I'm old, but I know these things. Coach, how do you relate to these younger players now? Is having a son their age, does that make it easier for you to relate to these players?
Yeah, it does. It does. Sometimes I listen to some of their music or whatever. It's different, but it's good to stay in tune. And I just think just being in their world from time to time, just talking to them outside of basketball. I do a lot of talking to my kids, just pulling them in the office from time to time, knowing who they are, what they got going on. So just trying to be in tune with each one of them and give them their respect for, like I say, their music. And you see these hairdos and all that, and
Ooh.
just being respectful to
Mr. Coach Salloway, let me tell you a story. When I first got to the school that I was coaching at, um, I had a rule. You could not have your hair if it was matted or finessed. We didn't do no finessing. You
yes,
had to
sir.
get a
Even Steven.
and listen, coach. First, I had some players. They were just like, "We ain't doing that. We ain't gonna do that." And I let them know it's okay. That's all right. You don't have to play. But what I learned though is this: I learned that the styles change, and to me, as long as it is presentable, I understand it now. So that's not even a battle that I fight right now. I don't, I let them express themselves with their hair. Uh, I don't like for it to stink, so they got to wash it. But no, again, your hair now is fine because, like I said, I understand. When it was like 10 years ago when I started coaching at the school that I was at, so the times are a little bit different. But as I've grown and learned that I understand that these guys express themselves different ways and they have different styles about themselves. So now, what we're getting ready to do right now is that we're getting ready to go into a part of our podcast called This or That. So we're going to play this or that. I'm going to ask you some questions, and you'll get a chance to answer this or that. And we're going to start first with Coach SallieWhite. Coach, would you rather retire as a forgotten coach with a winning record or a famous known coach known to lose championships?
Give me give me give me the championships. I want to play for the ship. A
Okay, all
lot
right,
of
good
people
deal.
don't get to play for the ship.
Good. You want to get those chips. All right. Now I'm going to drop down to both Jalen and Akin. Would you rather lose your phone for a week or play a playoff game in some Sperry's?
Lose my phone for a week.
You ain't trying to play in those Sperry's. Well, see, you sliced to the basket, so that ain't gonna work for you. What about you, Mr. Salloway? You on that phone a little bit? Uh, you gonna play? You gonna play in the Sperry's?
Did he freeze?
Yeah, I think he did freeze. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, he did freeze.
Oh, I
There
can
he is.
answer
There
that
he is.
question.
All right, tell me what you're gonna do, Mr. Salloway.
I'm playing the Sperry, man.
You gonna play in the Sperry's? Okay, all right. I hear you.
I'll put me some. I'm telling you, I'll put me some ankle braces on and make it work.
I hear you. Good deal. Okay, coach, this one is back on you. Would you rather go undefeated on the road or at home?
Undefeated on the road.
Undefeated. Okay, undefeated on the road. All right. Now for Mr. SallieWhite and for Jalen, would you rather lose to your best friend or beat your brother?
Mine would be beat my brother.
Okay, beat
Tell
your
him who
brother.
your
You don't.
brother.
You don't even
Mine
care.
would be beat my
Tell him
Sir,
who your
mine
brother
would beat my
is.
brother too.
Mateo Durant.
Okay. Is he in school with you or?
Uh, no, sir. He could just graduated from Duke. He was the starting running back at Duke University.
Excuse me. Then you know Jalen Calhoun.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, Jalen Calhoun is a real good friend of mine. He went to Southside High School up here. I've known his dad and his stepmom for such a long time. Jalen's a great athlete, man.
Yes, sir.
He's incredible. All right, so Mr. Celebrate, what you trying to do?
I gotta say, beat my brother, man.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir. Only reason I say that because my little brother, he like give me a hard time a lot.
Gotcha. All right, this is going to be the last question, and this is for Coach SallieWhite. I want to hear the answer on this one. Coach, would you rather have a former football player score the winning touchdown for Clemson as they beat USC for the Natty, or have a former player drop the pass that loses the Natty for USC against Clemson?
Man, drop the pass, man. I can't go in Oakland. No.
You ain't trying to see Clemson win the Natty,
No,
Coach.
no, no, no. No. No
What about the
Dabo, no.
player? He gonna be feeling all sad, Coach. What's up?
No Dabo, no.
That is awesome. Well, now listen. Also, we have a segment of our show. Coach Mike Morrison, who's not here tonight, he coaches for Legacy up here. They're actually at Southern Wesleyan. He's taking some guys to a Southern Wesleyan game, but he sends his regards. He and I, we are sneakerheads. I currently have over 220 pair of Adidas shoes in my closet, and he has almost as many Nike shoes. So this episode right here is called "What's on Your Feet." So, young Jalen SallieWhite, what's on your feet?
School shoes right now.
Well, what are school shoes? Tell me what they are.
There's some Vans. I wear Vans in school.
Vans. He got on
Hold on,
Vans.
but I got some for you. I got some for
Okay,
you
all
though.
right. Go ahead and get it then. While I talk to Akin. Akin, what's on your feet?
Let me go grab him for you real quick.
Okay, go and grab them for me. Yeah, but listen, Coach, this is awesome, man. Your guys are wow. Okay,
Hey,
okay,
I
Mr.
got these for
SallieWhite.
you right here.
Okay, Mrs. Sullivan. Now listen, for you people that are listening to this podcast on Spotify, you can't see, but see, y'all trying to show out, man. Y'all trying to show out. All right, Mrs. Sullivan, tell me what you got there.
All right here I got a pair of fours. They just came out last week.
Those
Got a
are the
pair of
Jordan.
orange
Which ones are
12.
those? Which ones are the black and white ones? What edition are those?
What'd you
Mr.
say? You were
Sullivan, I
breaking up.
can't hear you, sir. Which edition are those black and white ones? I mean, black and red ones.
These the black and
Okay,
red ones.
your
These the
son's in
fours.
the basement, man. We got to get him some Wi-Fi down there.
Hey, my work. I'm in the front room. He's in his bedroom.
Yeah, man. Okay, let's jump to Ken. Ken, what you got, bro?
Jordan 11 Cool Grace.
Whoa, he's got the Jordan 11 Cool Grays.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this then, and then Mr. SallieWhite, you can answer too. What is your favorite shoe to wear in a game?
Oh,
If
we
you had
got
to pick any shoe you want, because I know what you guys wear. I've seen your team shoes. I've seen. What is your if you could go off script and coach said, you know what, tonight you wear what you want, what would you wear?
I think it would be the Kobe Grinch. The Kobe Grinches.
The Grinches. Okay, I got you. What about you, Mr. SallieWhite? What's your favorite pair of shoe to wear when you balling? Bro, we got to
He
work on
couldn't
your.
know. Hey Jay,
We,
come in here, man. You breaking
yeah,
up.
go in there and sit next to your daddy, man. You. That is awesome. Let's see.
Jay. Joe, come unlock the door.
All right, Kean. So you like those Kobe Grinches? Now, do you have a pair?
No, sir. I never could get my hands on a pair.
Yeah, those are exclusive. But I uh, I normally wear. A matter of fact, I just got a pair of the Trey Young Christmas that dropped.
I
Uh,
haven't seen those.
yeah. Oh man, they're hot, man. Yeah, yeah. But let's see if we can get
Back on.
Mr. Jalen on here. Okay. All right, Mr. Jalen. Tell me again, what is your favorite pair of shoe to wear if you just straight out balling?
Probably be the flu games, Jordan flu games.
Okay, the flu games. Now, what were those red? Were those the red and black ones that you had up there? What? That's
Nah,
and
those
what
were
was
the
the white
fours that
ones?
I had. Those were the fours, the Jordan
Okay,
fours, and the
okay. So
white
you
ones I
broke out
had were
some.
the 12s.
Okay, all right. So you broke out the fours and the 12s. Now,
Yes, sir.
listen, for Mr. Durant and young Mr. SallieWhite, I have a hoodie that I'm going to give you guys, and it's courtesy of one of our sponsors, Student Athlete Shop.com. And so I'm going to come to the game on Friday, give you guys your hoodie. There's only one condition: you got to take a picture and then send it back to me, so we can go ahead and put that out there because we appreciate you guys being above anything else. We appreciate you being student athletes. And Coach SallieWhite, we really appreciate the way that you're molding these young men. You guys, listen, I want y'all to go ahead and do business against that big joker down there at Southside Christian. Y'all go ahead and do work. You hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
And listen, again, thank y'all so much for joining us tonight on our very first episode of Versus the podcast. Much success to you guys on the rest of your season. And I'm going to see you guys down in Columbia,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And I'm signing off from this episode of Versus the podcast.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. You guys. All right. One. Oh, man.
That was great. That
Hey,
was
man,
great,
listen.
Coach.
Coach SallieWhite and those guys down there in
Man,
McCormick, they really got a good program down there. Thank you again, Coach SallieWhite, Akia, and young Jalen for granting us that interview. You were our very first.
that's right.
The
That's right.
first.
That's right. The
Nobody.
number one.
That's right. Nobody else can't be first. Y'all
Nobody could
first.
be first. They were first. First on the Versus
Yeah, listen.
podcast.
But check this out. That ain't all. We got the showstopper,
Oh,
toe
man.
topper, the champion. You heard me? The
Uh-oh.
champion.
More heat.
Powdersville Patriots coach David Clayton.
Yes,
And we got two
sir.
of his athletes. We got Xavier Huggy, Huggins, and also Corben Butler. So
Oh,
y'all
man.
don't go nowhere. You got to check it
It's
out.
going to be a great
Coming up
interview.
on Versus the Podcast. All right. Today's episode of Versus the Podcast presents Coach David Clayton in the Powdersville Middle School. We're going to be chopping it up with my guy, my number one home fry, Coach David Clayton. How you doing, Coach?
Good. How are you, buddy?
We are doing extremely well. First, man, I want to thank you for agreeing to do this. I got to tell you, man, I'm really excited about talking to you. I talked to you a little bit backstage, but I got to say it publicly. My friend, I am so proud of you, man. I am really proud of you. Guys, you guys don't know, but I've known Coach Dave for a long time. He's a family friend. I don't even really kind of consider him as a friend. I consider him more as family because that's how long we've known each other. And see, you got some real good stuff cooking down there at Powdersville, man.
Man, we got a young team. They're coming along. We got 13 on the team. Realistically, I wanted to keep a couple less, but they're just there were some guys, man, that just really showed that they really wanted to be a part of the program. And we kept 13. We have 10 seventh graders and we got 3 eighth graders. So, and crazy enough, only 2 of the starters are eighth graders. So, we got some really good young up and coming talent. I think, obviously we've been blessed. I have a really good group of guys this year, and next year I just, it's going to be even better. So I'm just
Yeah.
excited for the
So
program.
now check this out. With that youth, dude, you guys are 11-2.
Correct. Yeah.
With that youth.
With that, well, what's crazy because last year, the last 2 years we had the man child and Hayden, who's on the varsity team now. When he left, it just we were so big the last couple of years. But we had kids like Nick Sweet, Jack Hurst, Caden Kreger, and obviously Hayden. And these guys go, and now it looks like we're just like Papa Smurf. And but man, I tell you what, I tell the guys all the time, whether you 5'5" or 6'5", no one can measure the heart, and they just play with such a passion, and they just play with so much heart. You wouldn't even think they're 5'4". I mean, they play like they're way bigger than what they are.
But you know what that goes to? Coaching, coach. Because here's what I tell people about coaching, like when you coach athletes like Nick and Hayden. I talk about this with Phil Jackson. Everybody goes, oh, man, Phil Jackson is a great coach. He's a super coach. And this is what I say. Anybody can coach Shaq and Kobe, but who's going to coach the Hornets? You know what I mean? If Phil Jackson, and I'm not taking anything away from his accomplishments because his rings are his rings, but if you're a super duper coach, do it with the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, when LeBron was with Mike Brown, when they were with Cleveland, it won like 60 games, I think it is. And then, Mike Brown got Coach of the Year. And then, the following year, LeBron bounced out and went to Miami.
Yeah.
That same team outside of LeBron that won 60 games won like 16.
That's right. That's exactly right.
If you're the Coach of the Year, you got to have I tell people all the time, you can be a great coach, but if you don't have the horses to pull the wagon,
that's right.
You're limited to what you can do. So I think to be able to have a great coach at a program and to have great athletes as well, that's the ultimate win-win. But I really love seeing when coaches that are, a little limited with what they have to work with, and when you just see progression, it doesn't necessarily have to be wins.
That's right.
Just see the growth, the maturity. When you can see the team growing, to me, that's the sign of a great coach. So, it's great to see that, especially with these programs that's around here.
That's great. Now, Coach, again, I know you and I know the backstory, but we want to tell our listeners what even made you kind of decide to get in coaching, or what was. Tell me about your love for basketball first.
So I've always had a passion for basketball. I just started playing when I was 5, but coaching, I remember when I got out of school and I was just I played pickup ball nonstop. I just loved the game, never gave up on it. I just, one day I had I was out there doing AAU. I had met a parent and I was doing some extra work with their son after practice. And he was like, man, you know what? He's like, you ought to get into training. You do a really good job, helping my son. And I just kind of started doing a little research on it, what it might look like, and kind of just put it off to the side. I had some thoughts of it. And then ironically enough, I was going to Redemption, and I just happened to run into you. And for a lot of people that don't know, Coach Stan had one of the biggest booming AAU organizations, the summer camps. I mean, it was popping. And I remember I would go in there and I would go to work out and play ball, and Coach Stan would have 70, 80 kids in this one court. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, it looked like just a basketball zoo. And it was just a workshop. And the energy, the effort and the attitude, which is what I preach, and which is what Coach Stan was exemplifying through his practice and his workouts. It just led me to migrate toward him. Never met him a day in my life, never knew him. But when I walked in and I seen it, and I just seen his energy and I seen his life, I was like, God, I got to get to know that guy. He's doing something that I'm passionate about, and I want to figure out what it is. And I just introduced myself one day. I was like, look, I like what you got going on. Can I help? And he invited me to help, and it just to be able to go out there with a lot of those young guys and women and to be able to help and just kind of give back and instill into the youth, it just kind of filled my cup up to want to be more of a coach, more of a mentor, more of a leader and a trainer. And that was really kind of the spark, man. I mean, that's what kind of took me off. And, Coach Stan has been more of a, he's a mentor. I could call him a friend, but a friend would be a disservice. He's a family. And, again, I would go to bat no matter what, twice on Sunday for him. So
I appreciate that. I think one of the things that I saw in you back then, Coach, was you talk about my energy, but I see your energy. I saw your energy, your light, your passion for teaching. A lot of times you'll see trainers, and not to say anything about anyone else, but you'll see trainers that are in it for the wrong reason. You'll see trainers that are in it for how much can I say about myself? but I've never seen that with you. It's always been about what you can teach. You've even trained my son, my youngest son, Shy, and just showing him some things. And I really do know that you are cut out for this, man. So whenever I see you posting, or I tell you what I like the most about your posts. You guys post game celebrations are fire. You guys, listen, y'all turn up, bro.
Listen, I've always said, and the fun is in the winning,
That's right.
and for us to win, we have to prepare, and I put such a premium on preparation. When we're at practice, it's the little details, and
Right.
the kids will tell you, I'm very big, and I'm very, like it's the little things, and if we have one little hiccup when we're at practice and we're trying to go through and fine comb something, at the slightest, hiccup, when I feel like we're at a, just kind of dropping off, I like to stop it and address it right there because, it's the little details that are the big things. And for us, we got thumped by Riverside pretty good by like 21 the first time we played them. And and a lot of that was on me. We had to get to the drawing board. There were some areas of our game that we weren't really executing well on. And we went to the drawing board. We played them again the following week. And those next practices, man, we just honed in. I mean, we set up a game plan, we prepared for it. And for the kids to work as hard as they did, and to come back and beat a really good team like Riverside by 23 at home on 8th grade night, it's just, the fun was in the winning. I mean, we had prepared so hard, and that's why it was just so rejoiceful in the locker room because of the effort, the tears and the blood and what the kids had put into to lead up to that point, which made it special.
Now, going into the playoffs, you guys have a first round bye. Who do you think you guys are going to run into, or what does that look like for you?
So I'm pretty sure we're going to play Palmetto tomorrow at 5:30, and we're going to play them at West Oak. So West Oak's hosting the tournament. And on the other side, if we win tomorrow night, then we would obviously have the championship game on Saturday at 11:30. We would play the winner between Walhalla and Riverside. So it would be, we played Walhalla twice this year. We played Riverside twice. We beat Walhalla by 3 at home. It's 3 or 4, and then we beat them by like 5 at Walhalla. So Walhalla is a very talented team, and they got a lot of size, well coached, got some really good athletes. Riverside, on the other hand, has got some both teams are very talented. Riverside has the better playmakers. I mean, they got some kids on their team that can really, really go. And it's going to be a challenge no matter what. But, hopefully we can take care of business tomorrow. I know the kids are up for the challenge. I know I'm up for the challenge. Our coaches for it. So excited to see how that's going to play out.
Good deal. You guys will be facing, if you play Riverside, you'll be facing one of my guys. He's a really short guard, Jake Bennett. Real short guard.
It's hard to say who's short because we got a lot of short guys on my team. He might look like a giant compared to some of our guys.
I hear you.
Now I will say, Coach Winfrey, it's one. I think it's his brother, Jemiah, Coach Winfrey over there. He's doing a tremendous job, man. I mean, Riverside, he's in it for the right reason. They got a really good young program. It's great to see that though, man. Like, not just from Powdersville, but when we look at like Walhalla, when you look at Riverside, when you these other programs, it's just great to see from a basketball fan, just for the good young talent, some of these young kids that are just hungry to really learn and get after it. So for me, when we play these teams, not only as a coach, but more so as a fan, it's just like, man, you're getting to see some really good young up and coming talent. And you just, as a coach, you wonder who's going to be the next big name out of South Carolina, who's going to be the next big name out of the upstate. So it's great to see these young guys who are hungry just to continue to work and get better at the game of basketball.
Can you tell me? Can I tell you that that's one of the reasons that I did this podcast was to bring light and bring attention to these kids so that we can find that next one. Being involved with high school and travel basketball in South Carolina all these years, it always aggravates me that they would hone in on Charlotte and Atlanta and almost skip our whole state. So I'm glad to see you guys out there. Now, where do most of your guys, do they feed right into Powdersville High School?
Yes, everybody feeds right into the high school. Now, we're not too far from Wren. So, you got Wren, Powdersville, and, we've had some, it kind of like flip, but for the most part, everything just feeds right into Powdersville High. Yep.
Okay, good deal. Well, Coach, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring in 2 of your players. And we're going to chop it up with them. And again, man, I got to tell you, man, I know you know that I love you, but I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so proud of you. Yes, sir. So what we're going to do is coming up next, we're going to be talking to young Mr. Corben and young Mr. Xavier. And so we'll be right with them in just 1 minute. This is Versus the podcast. All right. Now, guys, I'm going to bring you on in just a few minutes, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Once that bumper goes down, and I'm going to talk about the sponsor for that bumper, we're going to just jump right into you guys, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Here we go. This next episode of Versus the podcast is about our student athletes. It is sponsored by StudentAthleteShop.com. We're going to be talking to two Powdersville athletes, and let's bring them on right now. How you doing, guys? All right, that music will stop here in just 1 second. You guys doing well tonight?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, do me a favor. I know I met you backstage. Please introduce yourselves to me, please.
I'm Xavier Huggins.
And I'm Corben
Xavier Huggins. What grade are you in, Xavier?
I'm in 7th grade.
Okay. And then Corben, tell me your last name.
I'm Butler.
Corben Butler. All right. Guys, you guys seem to really be rolling there in Powdersville. What y'all eating over there?
Practice.
Huh?
Practice.
Okay. Hey, eating practice. That's what's up. So now let me ask you this. I know you guys know that I know Coach Dave. I want you to tell me, what is it like to play for Coach Dave?
I mean, Coach, like, he teaches us not only about basketball, but like how to become more mature in life and like how to like be better teammates and be better gentlemen.
Okay. What about you, Corben?
Going along with his, he teaches us about life lessons. He teaches us how, like, not to, when you fail, don't give up on yourself, to keep going, because your failures will lead to you being successful.
Wow. But now check this out. What y'all know about failure? Y'all ain't lost but 2 games, man. y'all ain't been doing a lot of failing, man. Now let me ask you this. What makes your team such, because when you lose a guy like Hayden, I saw this guy on Instagram and I almost got into an argument with someone because it was the video where he came down and he dunked on somebody and they were like, yo, man, this kid's an 8th grader. I'm like, shut up. So when you guys lose a kid like that and everybody knows that he's gone, how do y'all just bond together? And realistically, 11-2 with all of the 7th graders, that's amazing. So how do you do that?
So I felt like we were the underdogs coming in, and I felt like people wasn't prepared for us, and we had that mentality that, like, we refused to lose, and like we came in and showed what's up.
What do you think, Corben?
Like what Coach always says, it's not about your size, it's about what's in here.
Wow, man, that's some big boy stuff right there. Now, Corben, what do you when you go to college? What do you want to study?
Probably more about like engineering, maybe.
Okay, engineering. And what about you, Xavier? What do you want to study when you go to school?
Same thing, like engineering.
Okay. All right, good deal. So is that what you guys are gravitating toward academically right now, toward the engineering thing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. And Corben, what's your favorite college team? It could be any sport.
Carolina.
Huh?
Coastal Carolina.
Whoa. You must know somebody that goes there because that's just like real random.
Hey, as long as he didn't say Marshall Pickens, that's the most important. Right?
But listen, I have to give a shout out to Coastal Carolina. The Chanticleers have been playing some great football for the last few years. They've really been lighting up the world. So, Xavier, who's your favorite college team?
I like Alabama.
I know, Coach. I know.
Well, listen, you know what?
Well, I've been with them for a long time. Julio Jones signed my shirt when he was
really.
There. Yes.
Okay, and you know something? I'm with you on that. I am a Clemson Tiger fan. My son that Coach Dave knows actually is one of the all-time leading triple jumpers in Clemson history. So we're Clemson Tiger fans, but that's great. So now, Coach Dave, I want you to tell me what kind of players, what is Corben's strengths? What does he do well?
Corben, without a doubt, is his biggest strength is just his ability to like take constructive criticism and have short-term memory and just and get after it. You know, Corben is probably one of the most I'm just gonna say most coachable kids I've ever had in my life. You know, he is a yes sir, no sir type kid. He's not afraid of failure. You know, he gets after it. One thing about Corben is you know, he doesn't start. But Corben is kind of like the Jason Terry back in the day, like the Jamal Crawford. He's like the sixth man. You know, I call him the super sub because when he comes in, he just makes an immediate impact. And it's just, you know, when he gets in, he's just such a spark plug. And he's just, you know, if you get onto him, his eyeballs just look straight at you, and the only thing that comes out of his mouth is yes sir, no sir. You know, he's
That's
just,
really important.
you know, it's a coach's dream. You know, so Corben, that's his biggest strength is just being coachable. I mean, he's a great playmaker. He's a good athlete, but just him being coachable and just well respectful is just, it means the world to me. I mean, I really love that about him.
That is awesome. Now tell me, what does Xavier do well? What are his strengths?
Xavier, outside of the basketball skill, he's the best dancer on our team. You know? He is hands down he's our spark plug. But I'm gonna tell you, man, I harp on this guy nonstop. We've had some really close games. And those games would have not been won if it hadn't been for Xavier doing the little things. I think Xavier is like 4 foot nothing. You know, he's like 5'3". But Xavier, fun fact, Xavier leads our team in charges. He takes more charges than anybody on our team. And his if he makes a mistake, he is literally the first person to make up for it. I mean, we played Walhalla last week, and there was like 4 or 5 plays in the game where we lost the ball and they got out in transition, and he sprinted like a gazelle to get up and poke the ball away to give us an extra possession back and for us to score on. And if he didn't do that, we don't win the game. You know, Xavier's he's a playmaker, he's a grinder, and I feel like honestly for a kid of his size, whenever we need big plays, sometimes it comes from your smallest guys. And I'm telling you, man, he steps up in the biggest ways whenever we need it. And I just he's got that Ice Trae Young vein in him, man.
Okay.
I mean, so he's good.
Well, listen, Xavier, I have to tell you, being a coach myself, one of the things I love about any athlete is an athlete that's willing to sacrifice his body to take a charge. Because we all know that charges don't feel good, bruh. They don't feel good. And a lot of people will act like they want to take the charge, and as soon as they come, they'll fall out of the way because they don't want that contact. So I know how important that is to your team and to Coach Dave, that you're willing to sacrifice your body. And I know Coach Dave has taught you to cover up.
Oh, he
got to cover up, bro. You got to cover up. Okay, so now listen. We're going to get into our next episode, or our next thing is called This or That. So I'm going to ask you guys a question, and you got to pick one. I'm going to start with your coach. Coach Dave, would you rather retire as a forgotten coach with a winning record, or a famous coach who is known to lose championships?
I'm going to take the first one without question.
Okay, so you don't really care if people remember you as long as you're getting them dubs.
No, honestly, realistically for me, the phone was kind of breaking out, so I didn't really hear the question in full. So I didn't get that second one. Can you repeat it one more time?
Yeah, sure. Would you rather retire as a forgotten coach with a winning record, or a famous coach who is known to lose championships?
Ooh. Well, if you're a famous coach and you're known to lose championships, to me that sounds like you're going to be remembered as a famous loser because you could never win the big game. And for me, I think that I would rather not be famous, win and just make a difference in the athletes' lives. I mean, I don't think it's not something for me. The fame, I've just never been about fame. For me, like, I just know how important it is to teach the kids about, to use the game of basketball. We just preached about this tonight, to use the game of basketball to teach them about life, how to be accountable, how to be respectful, how to love one another, and just ultimately how to make the people around you better. And if a lot of people know us or know me for doing that, great. And if a lot of people don't, that's fine. But the impact and the relationships that we have with these kids as they get older, that'll always be intact, and we'll never lose that, no matter how many people know it, or no matter if it's broadcasted or not broadcasted. And you know that. I mean, you know how much of an impact you've had on my life, and that's not nothing that millions of people know. But as long as me and you know that, that's the most important thing. So.
Good stuff. All right. Now, guys, and Corben, you can answer first, and then we'll let Xavier go. Would you rather be the star player of a bad team or an average player on an elite team?
Ooh.
Go ahead, Xavier. You take that one first.
All right, Corben got it.
Probably an average player on a good team.
An average player on an elite team. Okay. All right.
Go ahead.
Same thing, because I'd rather win than be a star player, but like don't win.
Okay.
Now, why is that, Huggy? Why would you want to do that?
Because the fun is in the winning.
I can't hear you. The what?
The fun is in the winning.
I can't hear you say it. I can't hear you say it again.
The fun is in the winning.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that sounds like a mantra right there. The fun is in the winning. Okay, Coach, here is your next question. Would you rather be known as a coach who is a great motivator or a great strategist?
Well, I'll say this. I think there's, both of them are great, and I think I think now, there's a lot of kids now that are being told they're really good, they're this and they're that, and I feel like you can coach them the strategies of it, and ultimately, sometimes it's just they kind of run through the motion, and I think that there's always a plus to have a coach that is a great motivator that can bring out the most in athletes. And I think that at this point at middle school, it's great to have a combination of both. But I'm going to tell you, man, a lot of the kids that we've had, and I found this just by doing middle school basketball. And I think, and I've watched you do this with your kids, but being a great motivator, motivation leads to effort. It leads to pulling more out of kids. And a lot of times, if you're a great motivator and you can pull something out of a kid, you can pull something out that they didn't think they had, now all of a sudden they start doing more. They start believing more. And when an athlete believes more, when kids believe more, they'll run through a wall for you, and they'll start doing things that they didn't even know was possible. And I think that you can be a great coach and be great at strategy and not be able to really, motivate and get the most out of your kids. But at the end of the day, I preach all the time, we just need to play with energy, effort, and attitude. And if we just understanding of what we're doing, I myself, I've been blessed to know a lot of great coaches, to be around a lot of great people, to learn a lot of good things about basketball, whether it's defense or offense. But I think that the biggest gift God gave me is just the ability to connect and pull out the most in young men. And I think I would say I'm more on the motivator, the motivational side of it. I try to be as X's and O's as I can, but I just love, being the motivator for our young men and pulling out the most in them. So I would definitely say motivator on that.
I totally agree, Coach. That is totally awesome. All right, guys. The next question for you is, would you rather take the game-winning shot or give the assist to a teammate?
Give the assist to a teammate.
Okay.
I like big plays. I like making, as Coach always says, giving up a good shot for a better shot.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. What about you, Xavier?
Same thing, because
Don't you lie. Don't you lie to me. Don't you lie. Don't do it.
I'm not
Do not
lying.
do it.
I'm for real.
Come on, Xavier. It sounds like you want to jack it up, bro.
He wants to jack it up.
No, because like Coach said earlier, points. It's cool, but I rather, like Corben said, give up the better shot for the. Give up a good shot for a better shot.
I think you're kind of playing with my emotions, Smokey, but that's okay.
I'm being for real, like 100% honest.
Hey, Coach, I gotta tell you, these two right here, all jokes aside, it's never about the points for these guys, man. They don't care if they score 2, they don't care if they score 10. Awesome. They love looking out for their teammates. They love doing the little things. And I honestly, man, on our team so far this year, the most points by a player, I think, is like 13. You know,
Wow.
we've had 2 guys all year long scoring double digits. So
Wow.
that shows you how
Yeah.
spread out we are as a team. I mean, we
Yeah.
can get from anybody on any given night, but those 2 right there are definitely facilitators, no doubt.
Listen, that is awesome. I'm going to throw this last question to the guys. Now, I want you to listen carefully before you answer. Would you rather lose your phone for a week or play a championship game in some Sperry's?
What the
What
world?
are Sperry's?
Those.
What are Sperry's? You know what Sperry's are. They're the little boat shoes. You know what Sperry's are. Well, let me change it then. Would you rather lose your phone for a week or play a championship game in some Crocs without the sports?
Oh, Crocs. I'll play a championship
Crocs.
in Crocs. I'm a
Crocs.
bucket in Crocs.
I love Crocs.
I'm telling you, I'm a bucket.
Is it that, or you guys just don't want to be without your phones? Y'all can
No,
get
it's
buckets.
Crocs. I'm a bucket in Crocs.
I've already been out with my iPad for a week, so.
Okay.
Hey,
All
Coach,
right.
I got to tell you, he can hoop barefooted. You know,
Wow.
Xavier can hoop barefooted. He
Okay.
can get it. He can get
Well, that's going to lead us into our. Wait a minute. Let me do this. Let me do it this way. The last question for you guys, and I told you I was going to spring this on you, is I need for each one of you to give your best impersonation of Coach Dave.
Oh, I got it. Hold up. Act like there's a vein right here, all right? Come on!
All right, come on, Xavier. You got to give me one.
Right? So, like, it's a timeout, right? And we're about to break the huddle, right? Team, what did you say? He's beat so fast.
I hear this every day. All right, you know, we'll be at a game, and they know that I have this big vein. It looks like a white head that comes down my forehead.
Oh,
and if
God.
I get really intense, you can just see their eyes. They'll be like, yeah.
That is awesome. Now, Xavier, you said you had a funny story about Coach Dave. Can you give me a good funny story about it?
Right. So basically, that was basically a funny story. Like,
Okay.
Like funny, but
Okay. Well, listen, if that was a funny story, here is the last thing. Now, Coach Dave knows this about me, but you guys don't know this. I'm not really a sneakerhead, but I have over 220 pair of Adidas shoes.
wow.
So this next segment is called What's on Your Feet? So I'm going to ask both of you, and you can hold them up so I can see what's on your feet. And hold on. We're going to start with Coach Dave because I know his shoe game be fired too. Coach, what's on your feet?
Hey, man, listen, man, you already know I'm going to swag it out. I got these little nice little Nikes, you know what I mean? Just comfy.
Okay.
Coach, you know, hey, I know they're not Adidas. I know, so don't hang me.
Yeah.
But
But hold on. Do me a favor, Coach. Tell me what type of what shoe is that? Because I saw that same exact shoe. I was having brunch this weekend. A guy had them on. What shoe? That's nice.
A Nike fly knit, and it's a fly knit is what they call it.
Fly knit.
Yeah, all I know is that they're super comfy.
Yeah.
They kind of look like Yeezys from behind. You know what I'm saying? I tell you this much, and I want the kids to know this. There's nobody in the upstate that has more sneakers, Adidas, than Coach Stan. Nobody. You can combine them up. You can line them up. I'm surprised. I'm surprised his wife even has, lets him have his own room. I mean, it's unbelievable how many shoes this guy's got.
I do got a shoe room, and I'm going to show you guys what's on my feet. So, Corben, what's on your feet?
I got these high top champions, all red.
Okay, the red high top champion. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, he's showing us some red champion shoes. Okay, all right, Xavier, what you got? What's on your feet?
So you know me, right? I like sneakers and stuff like that. I'm pretty good sneakerhead. So I got these Jordan 1 Lows reverse red.
Okay, he's showing me the Jordan 1 Lows. They're black and red.
But Coach, not only does he have the 1 Lows on, Huggy, can you do me a favor? Can you show Coach Stan the little one leg shuffle that you do? Can you give him just like a little?
Oh, give it to me.
Yeah, can you just give him a glimpse of it real quick? Can you just back up? Just move the chair out of the way. Just give him a glimpse of it real quick. Go ahead and turn it up for him one time. Go ahead.
You talking about the gritty?
No. Do the one leg shuffle after you win the game. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah. Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is kicking it up.
Go ahead and drop it for him one time. You gotta drop it for him. You gotta drop it for him.
Oh, That is awesome. That is awesome. Now, Coach Stan is going to show you what's on my feet.
Okay.
I have a AAU organization now called SC Phenoms. So right now, today, I am rocking the custom Dame 4s. And if you look on the back there, it says SC Phenom.
Oh, that's smooth right
So
there.
when the boy tell you he got his own shoe, he got his own shoe.
Hey, I'm telling y'all, man, Coach Stan, the shoe game is on point. He don't play. He don't
Well,
play.
listen, guys, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you guys spending some time with me. Most, I won't say luck because you guys really have a game plan. Go out there, execute, give Coach the effort that you guys have been given all season. If you do that, he's going to be satisfied with the outcome no matter what it is. Coach Dave, again, I'm very proud of you, man. You go ahead and bring home that chip, bruh, and I will check in with you guys later. Also, Corben and Xavier, for you guys being our student athletes of this broadcast, we're going to give you each a student athlete hoodie. And that is sponsored by studentathleteshop.com. And I'll get those hoodies to you guys. Again, thank you so much for being here. Coach Dave, you're my guy.
Hey man, listen, Coach, we appreciate you. I know this is Corben and Xavier both appreciate this. Just continue to do the great job that you're doing, man. Just networking, reaching out, making a difference in the community as you've always done. This is big, just to get notoriety, not just the middle school, but the high school sports. The athletes will forever remember this. So will all the coaches. You're a blessing, man. Love you, appreciate you, and if there's anything we can do, you just let me know, buddy.
Well, you know what y'all can do? Win, baby.
Win. You got it. You got
Thank y'all so much, man. I appreciate y'all. Coach, I'll holler at you later.
Sounds good. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh man.
Come on, man.
Great interview. That's
Come on,
great.
man.
That was
Listen,
great, Coach.
I told Coach David is just doing a great job. Coach, that interview aired before they played in the championship.
Yeah.
I went down there and checked them dudes out, man. And I'm telling you, Huggy, number one, he went to work. He did work. But Coach Dave is really coaching them up. Hey, I ain't got to tell you. You already know.
Yeah, man. But the crazy thing about it, when we were planning to interview him, I was taking the boys down to Clemson, and I'm in McDonald's. I'm running into Coach Clayton's high school coach, and he couldn't stop speaking about the mind of David Clayton. Just how much he absorbed as a player, and now he's able to impart that back in the kids. Like you and I, when we first got our start, this guy's doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Whomever he's been coaching with, wherever I've seen him coaching, it's always been about building up those kids, and he's helped many of programs and many of a young person achieve that dream of playing at that next level, whether it's from middle school to high school or even high school to college. He's had some college guys, and he's had some pro guys that he's worked with. So kudos to David Clayton and that program down there in Powdersville.
He is the real deal. Yeah. And in the interview, you'll notice that he had a mantra that is the fun is in the winning.
Yes.
And, sometimes coaches say, I'm not worried about winning. But when I saw them down there and how much fun they were having, listen, those guys will not remember the score of that game, but they're going to remember the experience of the season. And they're going to remember their time with Coach David Clayton in a positive way. Again, Coach David, we appreciate you, man, and lending us your athletes for that interview. We really appreciate it. Listen, now we're coming up with this. This is my favorite part of the show. As you can see with the interviews that we did, we asked the athlete, "What's on your feet?" But now listen. I know some of you guys know me and Coach Mike together. We got a lot of shoes.
No, man, you a sneakerhead.
Hey, we got a lot of shoes.
You're the sneakerhead.
Now the difference being, all of mine are Adidas. I don't know if Coach Mike has any other brand shoes, but I know he got a lot of Nikes.
Listen, I don't have now another brand in my house.
Hey,
My dress shoes got Nike bottoms. I'm loyal. I'm loyal to the grave, man. I'm a Nike guy.
And see, that's something that's really cool about us is that even as much as we're brand loyal, we have both had opportunities where we've worn the other brand, and maybe sometime begrudgingly, but we did that. But to kick it off, the very first episode of What's on Your Feet, and the way this is going to go, we're just going to ask the question. All right, Coach Mike. What's on?
You want me to go first?
Wait a minute.
You want me to go first?
Yeah. Go ahead. We're gonna let you go on first.
Oh man,
listen,
you know what happened when you bring them Nikes out, man? That just kind of shut everything down.
Well, listen, go ahead and shut it.
Go ahead. Look. Let me go age. I gotta. Hey, listen. You're my senior.
Why you gotta bring up old people stuff, man?
You're my senior. This is your show.
All right,
by all means.
You know
Show them what you got, Coach. Show them what you got. Show them the heat on your feet, Coach.
Listen. Hey, it's Black History Month.
Yeah.
And for Black History Month, I had to break out the Black History Game 4s. They don't even sell these no more.
Wow.
These are Black History Game 4s, as you can see. Yeah.
What is it? They got some writing on there, or is that just
these stripes? You know what they are? This is to assemble the slave ships that were so that this design is actually to assimilate the slave ships that were created. For you that can't see them that are listening on iTunes and Spotify, they're black and white, and they are the Dame 4s. But as if you're looking, that's what's on my feet. All right, Coach, what you got, bro? What you got?
Well, when everybody went into the pandemic and everything kind of went I guess you could say dark 40 for a while, when we had all the murders and the different things were happening. Nike's just that brand above brands, man. They came out with the equality. Black and green joints.
Oh, you hit me with the red, black, and green.
Yeah,
the Kyrie.
Black and greens, man.
Equality.
And they got a lot of symbolism in them, but again, equality. Everybody respecting each other and respecting each other's personal beliefs and space.
You make me sick.
I told you, boy, when you bring them up, when you bring out the mics, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Mike, he was like, yeah, you're going to tear me up when we get to the little verses in the shoes.
Yeah, man, I don't have anything new.
No, them equality Kyries.
Oh, man, those were 2-3 years ago when they released them for the first time. So, there's been a few pairs in between, but hey, you never know. Nike might drop a box here and there. You never know what might come.
Back next week.
Hey, listen. I'll expect nothing but the best from you, man.
I'm going into the closet.
You ain't gonna dust out the webs, are you?
Hey, listen.
Don't go deep.
But check this out, Coach.
Yes, sir.
As we get ready to bring this episode to a close, some of the things that we're going to be talking about, AAU travel ball, how to get recruited, exposure tournaments, or are they good, bad, or indifferent? Different things like that. Also, we're going to be talking about some NCAA stuff, the NIL stuff, and just really try to share our experiences and I hesitate to call it expertise, but you and I have really spent a lot of years around this basketball thing for high school and middle school athletes. And we just want to share information with the parents. So you guys keep tuning in as we go on and we cover different subjects. But here's what I need for you to do. We are going to create an episode called, it's actually called You Better Google Me. And what I need for you to do, if you are a parent out there that has an athlete that you want us to highlight for that episode, upcoming segment of You better Google me. And all that is finding athletes that people don't know about, that are really working hard, that are doing good in the classroom, but are contributing to their team. Doesn't have to be a member of a winning championship team. If you have an athlete that you want people to know about the work and the dedication that they've put in, all I need for you to do is send me an email to versus the podcast 2424@gmail.com. And if you look on the screen, you're going to see that you'll see that scroll pop up where it's versus the podcast 2424@gmail.com. In the subject, put "you better Google me" and your athlete's name in parentheses, and Coach Mike and I will go through those and contact you so that we can interview your athlete and highlight your athlete right on this podcast. That is, you better Google me, and you can send us an email at versus the podcast 2424@gmail.com. Now, before we get out of here, Coach, we are going to tell them every week, we're going to tell them one thing about us that nobody hardly knows. And you flipped it on. You got me with the shoes. But I'm going to let you go first this time.
All right. Well, I don't know if any of you realize this or not, but since this is Black History Month, I was the first Black head coach in jail man basketball history.
Wow.
First Black boys head coach in jail man basketball history.
Wow, that is awesome.
Very honored. Very honored.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Mine, Coach, is not even actually basketball related, but it is and we're going to follow on the theme of Black History Month. None of y'all don't know this, outside of a couple of people in my family. Nobody don't know this. I was the first and only Black long distance operator for Bell South. Back then it was AT&T. They don't know nothing about Bell South. They don't know nothing about that.
That long distance service, baby. You got to get that long distance service.
Listen, they don't know nothing about when you have to pull the little plug and plug it in here, or you call our person. I have a collect call, Mike Harrison. Would you accept?
That's
no,
right.
I ain't gonna accept no charges.
That's right. Hey, real talk, Coach. When
Yes,
we was
listen.
traveling back and forth to South Carolina, my grandma didn't have the money to pay that bill. So they would say, just call us collect and we won't accept the charges. We'll know you got home.
What we
That's
did,
real.
we finessed the phone company.
That's right.
If you're going to DC from South Carolina, you would call back and be like, "This is Mike Morrison with a collect call." Then some of them will hear you on the phone. They know you got this safe.
Right,
They're like, "No, we ain't going to accept it." You just finesse the phone company.
That's right. But
We
that way you
finessed
kept it. Hey, you kept in contact. They knew you made it back home safe.
That's all we want.
And again, we joke about it, but we talk about the Green Book.
Yeah.
We talk about when that road between the southern states and those free states wasn't so safe.
Yeah.
So they didn't know how their parents was doing. And if anybody had a chance to watch the Women of Freedom, man, that Emmett Till story, boy, it set you on fire. That's something special.
Well, and not even that. Also, we have come so far. Long distance phone calls used to be extremely expensive, man.
Mm-hmm.
I know that not anybody listening to us right now probably can remember the last time that they actually got a paper phone bill.
Oh, wow.
It would list all the places that you have called, the number that you called, the duration of time that you were on the call.
Oh, man, got many whippings for them.
What? Listen. Man, one time, man, especially when I was in the military, I had ran up my mama's phone bill. And listen, for like $85. You see, us listening now, $85 ain't nothing. But back then, $85 get you killed.
Yeah, boy. Yeah,
Your mama, listen, because check this out. Listen, Coach Mike, I'm going to tell you something, man. I was poor.
Oh, man,
listen, this is how poor we were, Coach Mike. I used to wear monogram sweaters with other people's initials on them. when we had,
Hey,
hey,
y'all
look,
know Coach Stan is a stand-up comedian.
hey,
Right?
hey, look, Coach. You know when they send on them little slips about field trips.
Right.
If the field trip costs any money, I ain't even bring it home. I sat in the library.
That's real talk, man.
My mama wasn't going
That's
for
real
it,
talk.
but phone bills were so expensive, and we used to do person-to-person phone calls.
Yeah.
We didn't have three-way calling then.
No.
They had what they call party lines. So
Right.
actually, that job from AT&T helped me when I moved to New York. You mentioned stand-up comedy. I did move to New
Right.
York to do stand-up comedy. My aunt got me a job with the AT&T Conference Center up in New York. So what our job was is that we would set up conference calls for all the professional teams, all the big corporations and stuff up there. And now I'm going to show you how God works, Coach Mike. I get into the conference center, and one of my coworkers, rest in peace, her name was Marion Murphy.
Wow.
That was Uncle Ray. Rest in peace to Uncle Ray. That was Ray Murphy's wife.
Wow.
So she was Eddie Murphy's aunt.
Wow.
That is the good. Isn't
that amazing?
Yeah, and it is, and we became very
Isn't
good
that
friends.
amazing?
She came out to a couple of my shows. She even created an opportunity for me to. Eddie Murphy had a club out in Long Island called Club Sugar Ray's, just like the movie, and she created an opportunity for me to perform. It was him, John Sally, and Sherry Headley. They were all hanging around in Long Island, and so that's
what year was that?
That was back in 90. It may have been in, I'm going to say 88, 89, somewhere in there. Wow. Yeah. And Eddie Murphy was the creme de la creme. But at the time, he still came out to Long Island. And
he was hot then, boy.
She was
big
awesome.
time, Coach. That's big time right there.
She was awesome. But God was kind of putting me where I needed to be in those spots, but I didn't treat it right.
Yeah.
And listen, we'll go into that at a different episode when I talk about that. But I honestly, did not treat it right. But I was the first black long distance operator and in New York. And see, my family that are listening, hey, Coach, they call me Tommy from Martin. They be like, you ain't got no job,
Sam always talk about these jobs. Don't nobody know where
you ain't got no job, Tommy. But I be working, man.
Rest in peace to Tommy Small. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I be working.
Yeah, man.
Yes. But listen, Coach Mike.
Oh, that's amazing.
This has been awesome. Listen, you guys, make sure that you like and subscribe, share this page. We're going to be coming to you every week with more Versus the podcast. As I said, we got some great interviews lined up. Again, if you want your athlete to be highlighted, hit us with an email at versusthepodcast2424@gmail.com. We will definitely go through those, contact you, set up an interview so that we can highlight these people in this area. It's been awesome. Number one's out the way.
Number one
out the way.
Episode one.
Episode number one. Yeah. Listen,
turn it up.
We're going to get out of here till next time. As always, Coach Mike, peace, King.
Peace, King.